Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hollywood Knitter. My name is Allison. I am the host of this podcast and I am recording on Friday, July 1st, 2016 from my home in Los Angeles, California, United States of America. How is everyone doing? How is summer finding everyone? It has been a little warm here lately, just a wee bit, but it's cooling down a little, so it's getting to be like in the highs in the 80s during the day, Fahrenheit, and cools off enough at night that it's very bearable. I had a little issue with my air conditioning where, of course, in the heat of 100 and plus degrees, it stopped working, but that got fixed, so now I'm keeping the house gloriously cool during the day and then opening all the windows at night, which is how I like it. But I have done quite a bit of knitting in the last few weeks since I last talked to you, and I want to go right into showing you everything. So let's start off with my big one. I finished my summer of 16 top, and this is by Knitty Calha, and it's in Hazel Knits Lively Decay, the big wheel that I bought when I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I love the yarn, love it. As you can see, it's a very boxy top, no shaping at all, but the bottom has a longer back than it does a front, which I really like because those kind of work for me. And then it's a very simple kind of lattice detail, and then the edges are just literally kind of picked up, and you put a little yarn over edge for the sleeves and for the neck. Now, I like it, but I want to say something about it. It is very square, and so it makes me look square. Not square, but maybe a little, in pictures anyways, when I took them, made me feel like a little bigger than I would like. So that's just a note. It's very comfortable to wear. I love the length. I had plenty of yarn. I ended up using 370 or like 780 yards, 370 grams. So I had just a little ball left. So plenty of yarn for the size that I knit, which was, I think I knit one size down than I normally would. I think I knit the 41. The idea that there was a lot of positive ease, and it's written with a lot of positive ease, and I don't normally like that much positive ease in my tops, which is another reason I think that even going down a size, I could have gone down another size and I would have liked it more because I'm not usually a boxy person. But I love the color. I love having another top. I will totally wear this. And it's very comfortable. I haven't worn it yet because, you know, brand new knits, you got to have a special place to wear them. But I will soon. And so it's such an easy pattern. It really, really is. And this high-low pattern, because it's knit from the bottom up. And so this high-low pattern, which involves short rows and things like that, is a great detail in shirts for me. And I was going for more t-shirt things that I can wear, and I totally will be wearing this to work probably. So this is the summer of 16. Well, yeah, I think it was called the summer of 16. I didn't change it. Sweater in my hazel knits, and I love the Cherry Fizz. This is the Cherry Fizz colorway. It's beautiful. It was so nice to knit with, and so that is all finished. I'm excited. I have a new top, which I needed to start knitting more t-shirts, and now I am. The other thing I finished is the Spindrift Shawl by Helen Stewart. Very simple crescent shape, kind of, well, not crescent shape, but, well, yes, crescent shape because it's crescent on the bottom. I knit this in Pandia Squishies yarn that I got at a yarn swap or one of the knitting retreats I had. This would normally not have been colors I would choose for myself, but when I picked it out, as I said last time, it had 490 yards, so it had to be a shawl. So I wanted to use all of it, so I did in the stockinette section make it a few rows longer, and I did an extra repeat of the eyelet lace too before doing this very, very cute little picot bind off. And this has already found a home with my friend. As I was knitting it, I brought it to my friend's house when I was having a pool date with her and her daughters. And the 7-year-old, as I brought out to knit, she's like, oh, what's that? And I said, oh, it's a shawl. And I said, yeah. She's like, oh, it's really pretty. And I'm like, oh, I'm not knitting it for anyone. And she's like, oh, can I have it? And I was like, sure. She's a dress up kind of girl. She'll probably wear it dress up. I don't know if she'd wear it out and about, but totally a great dress up thing and totally knit worthy. She's such an adorable, known her since she was born. The only thing is that she has a 4-year-old sister, and anyone who has more than one kid, especially 2 girls or 2 ones close enough, is they fight like cats and dogs. It was actually kind of funny because her mom asked me, she's like, because she's an only child, she's like, did you and your siblings fight all the time? I said, like cats and dogs. We were horrible. My siblings and I, when we were younger, totally just mean to each other when you look back at it, but that's the way kids are. And I said, yeah. And she's like, when does it stop? I'm like, I don't think it stopped until I went to college. So she's like, oh man, she's like, it's constant. So knowing that, I was like, I told Bailey is her name. I said, I have to make something for your sister too, because I can't just give you a gift and not make her something. So she didn't say anything to that. She's a very sweet girl. But so this will be ready for her. But then I had to figure out something to make for her sister. And so, I don't know, I went on Ravelry. I went randomly through everything. And I decided upon the Bactus. And I haven't gotten very far into it, but it is a very simple increase. It's supposed to be like a scarf, but I think because she's 4, it will be like a shawl on her, and it goes straight and you just are increasing one and then you increase back. But you knit it from end to end. And what I'm doing is I'm using Crazy Zauber Ball, and I had it, and it's these pinks and purples and greens. And I, based on some other people on Ravelry project notes, I split the balls evenly in half, and I'm alternating the stripes. They're kind of very similar to each other right now, so you really can't tell, but as I go further in it, there'll be more contrast and it'll come back and forth. So I did start on that. I haven't gotten very far, but this will be for her, and then as soon as it's done, I will package them up and I will bring them over and give them as gifts. So I'm really excited about that. This is going to be my travel project soon because I've decided that I need to finish my citron. Yes, I do. I am on the second ball with 27 grams left, so I've used 75 grams. I am on the 8th repeat right now. I actually just did the increase for the gather portion. And I'm only gonna do, I think, 8 repeats. I think it's 8, right? Yeah, it's gotta be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, maybe I'm on the 9th. Anyways, this is gonna be the last repeat. And after that, I will do the little ruffled edge with whatever I have, and I will be done, and I will block it, and it will be soft, and it will be beautiful, and it will replace the one that I don't have. So I decided I needed to kick it. It's been kicking around for too long. And once I decided that and kind of made it a priority, I finished a whole section in like 3 days. Like, I'm like, all right, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to do at least 4 rows a day. They're 20 row repeats. I need to finish this in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And so I did it that way. So I am making this my main focus right now. And it's very mindless knitting, very kind of boring knitting, you know, stockinette, lots of stitches. I have not, I mean, I probably have like 600 stitches on the needle right now for this little gather part, probably more. I'm not even counting because I went beyond the free pattern. I can figure out the increases and stuff for the extra sections myself, but I don't have stitch counts, and honestly, it doesn't matter. So this is the Citron. It's a free pattern on Knitty, and I'm knitting it in Malabriga lace and the Polar Morin that I've had in my stash for a while. I love the feel of it. It's a very, very soft single, and it's knitting up very nicely, and I'm going to finish it because I'm going to bring this, I think, to me when I go to Vegas later this month, and which is where I lost the last one, so hopefully it's not unlucky to bring it, but it's like the perfect weight, and it will squish up really well in my purse for when you go in and out of casinos in the air and things like that. So that's the Citron, and I thought this episode I would show you my linen stitch blanket because it's been a little while, and I'm up to 18 inches, and it's July 1st, so I can start on my next 3 inches. I have actually a little bit of the yarn from the Spindrift still left, so I'll throw that in, and I got some other scraps. So here it is. Isn't it beautiful? I'm really, really pleased with it. Really, really pleased. And I actually have every 3 months I do the fringe. So the fringe is actually all done and trimmed up. Looks a little, it's not gonna be totally straight, but it is all trimmed up. And so how I trim it is I knot it. I'm just using a simple knot. I do I don't even know what knots are called, but basically I do like a knot like your simple over one, and tighten it. And then I do a kind of over the finger one. So it makes a more, I don't know, more stylish knot for the fringe. And then I have like a cutting utensil that I have from when I thought I might sew. And it happens to be, I think, exactly like 3 inches wide. And so I wash it, pin out any of those, because sometimes some of the ones I use are very kinked, and if they are, I kind of rinse them and pin them so they dry straight. Then I just stick it on there, and then I just trim underneath, and it's very easy. So I plan on doing that every 3 months. So my fringe will be almost done when I finish the blanket. Plus, if it gets any more than that, it's kind of unwieldy. So here is my linen stitch magnum opus, and it's beautiful. And such a joy to knit, actually, because I just love seeing the colors come out and not really worrying about, you know, everything is just, it's so bright and happy. So linen stitch linen stitch blanket. And it's just a plain linen stitch. The only thing I'm doing differently is instead of purling back, I just push it all the way back to the end and knit again. So I'm doing all knits and slips, and I'm doing 3 inches a month, because it's a giant project. It's gonna take me 2 years. I finished 6 months. I have 18 months to go. And that will give me a blanket that is large enough for me. So I'm excited that it's the beginning of the month, so I'll be able to work on that shortly. I am trying to figure out what my next projects are gonna be. My citron needs to be done. I have the Bactus to be my carry project, and then I'm trying to decide what my home project will be. I can't decide if I'm gonna cast on another lace project, the one with beads that I talked about before, the jewel cowl. I think I might cast that one on, and I might wind for another shirt, another fingering weight shirt. And I have a few in my queue and yarn for a few, and I just have to decide which one I want to cast on. I'm not really sure. I'm leaning towards older stash. There's some yarn I picked up at SSK 2 years ago when I went, with the idea that I would do like a crazy striped shirt. I'm not as in love with that pattern anymore, but there's some other really striped ones that I have, and I have picked up like a marigold and a gray, marigold being like an orange. And so I think I'm leaning towards that to kind of get older stash out, and then the newer stash that I got for shirts I'll use after that. I also want to finish the Bactus so I can cast on for another pair of socks for my boyfriend to try to make my 6 pairs a year this year for him. And yeah, I'm just kind of I really want to start a new project, but I'm not going to until I finish the citron, and then I'm probably going to do my 3 inches on my blanket first before I start a new home project, and then that Bactus is going to be my travel project. So kind of want to finish both the citron and the Bactus before I kind of cast on. Though I have cast on itis, but I'm not one who can have a ton of projects going. It just bothers me. It bothers me to have them linger. It's just not in my nature. So I'm going to pause un momento and show you the beer of the day. I am drinking Rebel Grapefruit IPA. And if you haven't met me before, I am a giant IPA beer fan. Beer is my preferred alcohol. Different from when I was younger. When I was in my 20s, it was definitely very much mixed drinks, and then it was wine for a little while, and then I hit upon beer, and I really love the IPAs. So what have I been doing in June? Work. I finished out one of the projects I was working on, which was putting in new groundwater wells, production wells, and monitoring wells all around LA. So I've been working on finishing that up, and then I have a new project that's just about to start that is a horizontal directional drilling project. And basically what that means is I'm building one of my ongoing projects, we're building a pump station and down at the bottom of a hill in Griffith Park, and a new welded steel tank that's going to be, what is it, like 40 or 50 feet high, tank at the top, and the horizontal directional drilling contract. Those are being done by our internal forces, those two parts of the project, and then this is a contractor part. And they're basically going to start at the bottom. They're going to drill up to the point that they're supposed to reach at the top, which is about 2,500 feet and a gain of about, I don't know, 1,000 feet. And they basically drill it with this special machine, and then once they break through at the top, then they start installing welded steel pipe, 12-inch pipe from the top, and then pushing it all the way down to the bottom. And that's horizontal directional drilling. It's normally done on a horizontal plane, so you're actually drilling to like go under any kind of conflicts, so maybe large utilities or even sometimes like bridges or something, and so you're needing to basically have a pipe go like this, and that's horizontal directional drilling, and they use this special drill to go along the path that you're wanting to, and so you get it to go under all your obstructions. So basically we're going to be starting all the paperwork for that. It just got awarded and had a pre-construction meeting, and so I expect soon I'll be seeing a lot of paperwork for submittals and things that we have to approve before we start the site work. So that's been taking a lot of my time. The other thing I got to do, which was work but fun too, as one of my resident engineers, who is the level that works under me, what I used to be, is going to be working on a project up in Grant Lake, and that is 350 miles from LA. If you know anything about LA, we don't have a lot of water here, and so for many, many years we've been taking water from up north. There's, you know, Chinatown's about it and all those other things. But we had basically take water from the upper Sierras down through an aqueduct down into LA, and I think right now that's roughly about 25 to 30% of the water that Los Angeles uses. As part of that, and the stewardship of that, we have to maintain some lake levels, and we have different facilities up there, and one of them is Grant Lake, which is just below the pass that actually goes into Yosemite, Tioga Pass. And because of the recent droughts and other things, the lake level has been dropped significantly, and as a result, some of our infrastructure is a little too high, and so we have to go in and lower it, some spillways and some different things like that. And it's going to be a pretty long project, because we can only do it when weather permits, because they get heavy snows up there. And we're going to be using our internal forces, so we're going to go from LA up there. And so what's going to happen is that it's going to be done over 3 seasons, maybe even 4 seasons, because they're adding some scope. And my RE has volunteered to go up there and be the resident engineer for that. It's normally pretty difficult to get people willing to go up there. I did it a few years ago when I went up to Owens Lake for 10 months. But normally we go out with consultants, but because this is an internal job and because he was willing to go up, because basically he will be living up there for between 6 and 9 months, depending on whether that they'll be working up there every season. So anyways, I'm going to be minimally involved in terms of that. I'm still a supervisor, and I'll kind of be keeping an eye on the project, but because of the distance, I won't be as involved as I would if it were down here. But we did want to, none of us had gone up there before or seen that. I've never gone that far north. So we decided to do a site visit, and so we drove up, me and my RE, from LA on a Monday, and took about 6 hours to drive up to Grant Lake, and we actually stayed in June Lake, and it was really nice actually. We stayed, it's a very quaint little town, very alpine, and the hotels, or the one we stayed at or we picked, was a little on the older side. Not older, but definitely it's been around a while. But it has rooms directly on June Lake, so it was really beautiful to stay there for the night. Much cooler, because that was during our crazy heat wave. So we were driving up, and the temperatures were, 110 all the way up through the valley until we started going up into the mountains. And this is actually, if you're familiar with Mammoth, this is actually north of Mammoth. Mammoth is like 20 minutes away from June Lake. So we got there on that night and checked in. Then we walked the town. It was very small, and I had already kind of yelped what was there, and I knew there was a brewery there. And so we're walking through town and like hear this band, and I'm like, I wonder if that's what it is. And we went down there, and it was actually June Lake Brewing. It was their 2-year anniversary party, because this was like a Monday, and so they're having like a big get together and had a band and a bunch of people there. So we went and had some brews. I had IPAs, of course, and then chilled out there for a little while, and then we went over and got some dinner, and then we were in bed for the night. And the next morning we did the site visit, Grant Lake, with all of the other personnel that had driven up, and we're actually staying in Bishop, California, which is where DWP has another office. We have all of our staff that are, well, majority of our staff that are based in the Northern Aqueduct region, we call them, is based out of Bishop. So we met all of the people who were coming from there, as well as some people who came from LA, and we did a site walk, and we looked at different things, and we talked about the feasibility, construction, and different things. And I got extremely sunburned on my arms. Of course, I was really good about putting sunscreen and everything here, and then I wore a t-shirt and hadn't put any on my arms, and I'm actually still peeling today from that. But so we did about a 4.5 hour site walk, and then we were kind of done for the day. But we couldn't drive back to LA because we had a follow-up meeting scheduled in Bishop on Wednesday morning. So we tried to go meet everyone for lunch, my RE and I, but we didn't find them, and cell service up there was pretty spotty. But when we went up to Lee Vining, which is where we thought we were meeting them for lunch, which is the next town past, which is the town next to Mono Lake, I was like, you know, we don't have anything else to do in the afternoon. I needed to get back later and check emails and stuff, but I could do that night. So we went, I was like, Yosemite's right here. I've never been. I don't know when I'm going to go. Let's just drive for a few hours and go into Yosemite and see it. So we did. So we went up the Tioga Pass, which had just opened a few weeks earlier, and we drove through that part of Yosemite, the Tulami Meadows area, all the way to this place called Olmsted Point. And from there we could see Half Dome, and it was just beautiful. I love mountains. I love alpine. It was green. The lakes were crystal clear blue. The vistas, it was just beautiful. What I want to do now is I got to go back. I want to go back and camp. Most definitely. There were quite a few people already kind of going around Yosemite, so I can see how it can get extremely crazy in the summertime. So if I go, I would probably try to do something where I was going early in the season, like after Memorial Day, like as soon as the road opens or something up there, or later in the year. And I've also actually seen some things where they do some winter stuff at some of the things there, where they have a lodge that's open in the winter, and they do, you know, cross-country skiing and things like that, which might be really cool. So we did that for a few hours, and then we drove back down to Bishop, where it was 100 and something again. Went to a brewery there, which was also very good, that the name is escaping me, but it was the brewery in Bishop, and we went and had dinner there, which was excellent. They had really good food and beer. Chilled out there, and then back to the hotel room, where got some more knitting done. The good thing about going up with someone is that we shared the driving time. So we took my car, but we pretty evenly split the driving time. So I was able to get some knitting done, as well as some work done. I had some reading and some things I had to do. So I alternated between both. And then Wednesday morning, we had the meeting, and we had the follow-up meeting where we addressed a few issues, and then we drove back to LA. And I was back to LA by 2:30, so worked another hour, got through my email, and then went. But it was a great mix of, seeing nature and seeing places, or seeing parts of the department that I normally don't get to see. And I don't know, unless I'm willing to move up there, which my boss told me, because there's a promotion for the next level above me coming up, and he's pushing me very hard to interview for it. I'm still on the fence of whether I want to promote to the next level or not. I have a long-term, I'm a pensioned worker, and I'm planning on I have to put in, before I can retire at 55, I'll have 32 years. I'm 16 years into it. I got a long time before I need to promote, and that next level just brings in different headaches and politics and different things. But anyways, he's like, oh, that there's a waterworks engineer position up here. And that is notorious, actually a difficult position to fill, because a lot of the people who are qualified are in LA, and you have to move up to Bishop, which is a very different lifestyle, very different up there from my brief time when I was working on a project up in that way. But I'm not going to move up there. I love LA too much, and yeah, so I'm staying down here. So that was my big adventure that I did. I took some pictures. Let's put some up on Instagram if you want to see them. And other than that, it is the beginning of the 4th of July holiday weekend here in the United States. Today is Friday, and it is my regular day off. Then I have the Monday holiday, and then I took a day off on Tuesday, mainly because I wasn't sure what we're going to do for this weekend, and the 4th of July is on a Monday, and, you know, I think we're going to do a family barbecue kind of thing, which will probably be out in the sun, maybe with a few beers. And I didn't think the idea of getting up on Tuesday and going to work was very appealing, and I knew it was going to be a little slow day for me, so I thought it'd be a good day to take off. So I have 5 days. We don't have any definite plans. It's kind of like a staycation, which is awesome. The boyfriend is actually back in Yuma for this weekend, but he used to have to work all the holidays, but they've recently pulled back on that. So he's actually driving back tonight after he's finished with work there, and we'll be at home for the weekend, which is nice. Next weekend, on Tuesday he has to go back there, and so next weekend I'll be taking the train to Yuma to drive back with him like I normally do. Other than that, for travels upcoming is Vegas at the end of the month, and then my niece and nephew, who I'm so excited to have, and they're very excited to be coming out and seeing their aunt, and I will have them for about a week on my own. And my nephew is 15 and my niece is 6. So that will be a lot of fun. And then Hawaii. That's the next big trip after that. I also signed up for Cognitive Fiber Retreat, which is in October, mid-October. So me and my friend Priscilla are going to be going to that, which was awesome. Hosted by Gemma of the Cognitive Podcast, a great audio podcast if you don't listen to it. This is my 5th or 6th year going. That's where I see a lot of my knitting friends from up north that come down and see it. So that will be a fun trip. A very, very cool weekend up in Tehachapi. Very chill weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, the rest of the day I'm planning, I've been puttering around doing like cleaning and organizing, and this was on my to-do list. I will take some pictures of my FOs, get some things done, and then I think I'm going to go outside and enjoy my patio once it starts cooling down a little bit. I took early this morning to kind of sweep up all of the leaves and all the other things. We have a lot of the neighbors' trees that drop a lot of stuff back there. So I took the time to sweep everything and make it a little neat and clean. So I think I'm going to take my pad up there and my knitting and listen to some podcasts or watch some podcasts while I knit and chill out, which is awesome. But yeah, I hope everyone is enjoying their summer. It's just really beautiful actually today, and the weather's perfect now. Perfect. So I'm hoping we'll go do some adventures this weekend. I was thinking maybe some hiking, or there's a museum downtown I haven't gone to. I don't know, the driving range. I don't know. There's so many possibilities. So we will do some things soon. Anyways, I hope this podcast finds you well. If you want to find me, I'm Allison1031 on Ravelry and Instagram. And there is a Hollywood Knitter podcast group if you'd like to join. We actually had a recent hello, who I will say hello in the next podcast because I didn't write your name down, though you were local. So anyways, you can come and say hello there. And what else? I think that's it. I hope everyone is awesome. That's a wrap from blah, blah, blah. That's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Bye, everybody.